She raised her glass, met my eyes, and said, "We're done." Then she laughed, too bright, too polished, hooked her hand into a younger man's arm, and strolled out of Tom's backyard as if our 26-year marriage were just a jacket she'd outgrown. "Lena," I called, but my voice cracked. Nobody at the grill turned. The string lights hummed like they knew better. Tom stepped between us, hands up. "Easy, Gary. Breathe." She gave me the kind of smile you give a clerk. "Don't make a scene. It's over." Then she tilted her face to the guy in the sport coat. "Ready?" "Evan." Tom murmured at my shoulder, like the name was supposed to soothe me. "New at the firm. Contract work." I watched them vanish through the gate. Her heels ticked against the concrete. His hand slid to her back, claiming what was mine. My heart didn't break. It seized, like a rusted engine. I poured myself club soda, hands shaking, and grabbed the wrong bottle. Gin flooded the ice. Something gold winked at the bottom of the tub. Her ring. I plunged my wrist into the freezing water, fished it out, wiped it on my shirt. Not an accident. A signature. Tom hovered. "You okay?" "No, but I'm not going to bleed in your yard." Inside, I meant to grab our coats. Instead, I found her phone, face down on the buffet, tucked beneath a napkin. Deliberate. That was Lena. No loose ends. The screen buzzed in my hand. Unknown caller. Voicemail. I shouldn't have. I listened. "Mrs. Hale, this is Dr. Evans. I know you asked not to be called today, but I need you at 8 tomorrow. We have results. Don't worry, just keep the appointment. Calm." Clipped. A doctor's voice I'd only heard when she made me leave the room. For a wild second, I thought, mercy. Maybe she was sick. Maybe this kid was a shield against pity, against me. But then I scrolled. 2 texts from a contact saved only as E. 5:12 p.m. Same place. Key waiting. 8:03 p.m. You sure? Tonight ends it. Her reply. A single check mark. E. Evan. Or Evans. My chest caved. Tom leaned in the doorway. "Want me to drive you?" "I'll manage." I pocketed her phone. It felt like contraband and salvation both. By midnight the house was empty, the air sharp. I drove our old Ford alone, her ring clinking on the console like loose change. Her laugh at the gate echoed in my skull. And beneath it, the doctor's voice. Results. Don't worry. Don't worry. At midnight, worry's a second skin. At home, I set her ring on the nightstand and waited in the dark. Every half hour, I checked the driveway, half hoping headlights would swing in, half dreading they would. At 5:37, birds started their static. I brewed coffee I didn't drink. Her phone buzzed, calendar alert. 8 o'clock, Dr. Evans. The name glowed like a dare. I was still staring when the doorbell rang. Once. Twice. Not frantic, firm. I opened the door to a man in his 40s, salt at the temples, tie already cinched. He gave me a professional nod. "Mr. Hale," he said. "I'm Dr. Evans. We need to talk about your wife." I pressed my palm against the door, holding the gap. "Lena, look at me." Her fingers slipped through, cool, trembling. I felt the familiar groove where her ring had lived. I slid it back. Metal clicked against chain. The door cracked wider, revealing half her face. Glassy eyes, a pale square on her chest where electrodes had been, a bruise darkening her hairline. "Don't let him see me," she whispered. "Please." Behind me, Evan shifted. "Mrs. Hale." "Quiet." I snapped without turning. "If you push, she runs." "Gary," Tom murmured, uneasy, "this is crazy." I leaned closer to Lena. "Were you here all night?" "No. I came at 5. Needed quiet." There are 2 glasses inside. A man's jacket on the chair. Housekeeping sets 2. The jacket isn't mine. Evans's watch beeped. It's 7:52. If she's having runs. Runs of what? Rhythm. His patience frayed. "I'm not your enemy." Lena's gaze cut toward his silhouette. It hardened. "Don't let him near me." Suspicion churned. I yanked her phone from my pocket, thumbed the E thread. "Last text. Where are you?" I typed, "Come to the door." A buzz answered, from inside the room, low and close. She froze. "Where?" I asked. Her eyes flicked toward the bed. I reached beneath the mattress seam and pulled out a battered prepaid phone. The screen glowed. E thread with L. Same timestamps, same words. Room 204. Alone. My throat dried. E isn't a person. Lena nodded. "It's a drop. Safer." "For who?" Tom blurted. "What the hell are you doing?" She shut her eyes like bracing for impact. Trying to fix what I broke, without burning your life down. Tom's hand twitched for the door. I blocked him. Why Edgewater? Maps shows you here 3 times. Because it's near his office, she said. My office? Evans snapped. You think I meet patients at motels? I don't even. A folded receipt peeked beneath the Bible. I yanked it free. 2 dinners, Edgewater Lounge. Card ending 4412. Tom's last 4. My stomach nodded. I shoved it toward him. Explain. Color drained from his face. Vendor problem. Mike's heater guy lost his card. I fronted it. Call the bar. Why not tell me? He looked at Lena over my shoulder. Because you jumped to this. Evans checked his watch again. 7:56. I'm not going to the hospital, Lena said. Not with him. Then come with me. Her eyes softened, then shuddered. 10 minutes. No scenes. Take what's under the sink. Don't let him see. I crossed to the vanity. Behind towels, a black pouch. Inside, flash drive, folded EKG strips, a key marked in blue tape, G.H. I slipped them into my jacket. Evans's voice sharpened. What did you just take? Insurance. If she has new data, I need it. She said not to. Mr. Hale, your wife fainted in my office twice last week. I don't play games with arrhythmias. Lena's voice thinned. And I don't play games with men who forget they're being recorded. Evans stilled. Tom blinked. Recorded? Lena pressed her forehead to the door. Gary, what you think about last night? You're wrong, and you're right. I'll tell you in the car. But if he sees me now, everything unravels. Downstairs, a hall clock chimed 8. My hand trembled on the door. Why? I asked. She looked past me, straight at the man in the white coat. Her voice broke the air like glass. Because the man you brought here, she whispered, isn't Dr. Evans. Evans's face didn't twitch, but Tom swore under his breath. What the hell is she talking about? Tom whispered. We drove here with you. Lena. Evans interrupted smoothly. Voice honey over glass. You're exhausted. Stress distorts memory. Her voice cut sharp through the crack. Gary, I'm not confused. That man isn't who he says. I turned on him. Show me ID. His hand slid into his coat pocket, slow. Too slow. He pulled out a hospital badge, photo, hologram, laminated sheen. He held it up like a shield. Satisfied. It looked real. Heavy. But Lena shook her head. I saw him leave my exam last week carrying a black case that wasn't his. My doctor doesn't own one. Evans's jaw clenched. She fainted. She was medicated. Perception under stress can't be trusted. My pulse hammered. Tom leaned in. Gary, maybe she's unraveling, bruised, medicated, whatever this is. You saw her. But then Lena whispered, check his wrist. I looked. A faint red groove ran above his watch strap. Not a tan line. A restraint mark. He yanked his sleeve down. We're wasting time. I grabbed his arm. Where were you last night? Charting. Asked the nurses. His tone, flat, almost bored, landed colder than denial. Before I could press, the prepaid phone in my pocket buzzed. New text. Room 204. Wrong man. My throat closed. Who else has this number? Her eyes widened. Not me. I don't. Tom snatched the phone, stared at the glow. Gary, that's impossible. You've had it the whole time. The hallway air thinned. My reflection in the motel window looked like a stranger. Open the door, I said. No. Lena's whisper carried steel. Not while he's here. Evans stepped forward, voice controlled but urgent. Mr. Hale, your wife is unstable. Let me handle this. I raised the prepaid phone between us. Then explained why someone inside just texted me. The silence pressed like a weight. Lena's face disappeared from the gap. The lock clicked. For a heartbeat, I thought she'd let us in. Then the door slammed, rattling the frame. Furniture scraped across the floor, heavy, deliberate. And her voice came muffled, fierce through the wood. Gary, if you love me, don't trust either of them. The crack of her phone hitting the counter snapped me out of the fog. She was pacing now, one hand knotted in her hair, eyes darting like a cornered animal. Why were you at Dr. Benson's office? She demanded, her voice sharp and brittle. I didn't blink. Because I needed answers. And now I know more than you think. Her mouth opened, then closed. For a heartbeat her gaze softened, almost pleading, but it calcified into stone. You're twisting this. He's been helping me. You've misunderstood everything. Helping. The word cut deeper than accusation. Therapy? Counsel? Some fragile hope flickered. Maybe she'd been sneaking away to heal. But the break in her voice told me therapy wasn't the kind of help she meant. You expect me to swallow that? I lifted the manila envelope Benson had slipped me. She didn't know what was inside, that I hadn't even opened it. Receipts, records, maybe worse. My bluff was pretending I already knew. Her face drained. You went through my private files? You went through our marriage like it was disposable. Don't preach privacy. It's not what you think, she said, voice cracking. Then say what it is. The mantel clock ticked like a metronome in the silence. My chest pounded so loud I swore the room could hear it. Finally, she whispered, I thought he could help me. Leave you. The words hit harder than a fist. Leave me. I didn't want it to drag out. He said he could make it easier. Legal, financial. Her confession tumbled out, shaky but deliberate. Not an affair. Worse. A plan. Brick by brick, dismantling the life we'd built. Why? My voice cracked. Tears welled, but they carried no remorse, only raw panic. Because I didn't think you'd let me go. The floor tilted. Not passion, not betrayal of flesh, betrayal of trust, of years. Before I could speak, the front door creaked open. Dad, a voice called. We froze. Michael, back from his friend's house too soon. Backpack slung over one shoulder. Confusion written across his face as he looked between us. What's going on? Her hand shot out, desperate. Nothing, sweetheart. Everything's fine. But her fingers shook. Her voice cracked. Michael's brow furrowed. He wasn't buying it. And in that instant, I understood. If she could manipulate me, she might try to use him too. I locked eyes with her, then turned to my son. My voice came steady, deliberate. Michael, I said, your mother has something she needs to explain. Her face went white, lips parting soundlessly. The room tightened around us. My son's eyes darted between us, waiting. And I knew. Whatever she said next would detonate the truth we'd been circling, and nothing in our house would ever be the same. Michael's eyes flicked between us, waiting. Her lips trembled like she wanted to invent something, but the silence had already thickened into truth. Explain, I said, sharper this time. She pulled him close to her side. Your father's upset, that's all. He's twisting things. Stop. My voice cut like glass. Don't drag him into this. Michael frowned. Drag me into what? Her hand gripped his shoulder. Nothing, sweetheart. Just grown-up problems. But my son wasn't a child anymore. 16, razor sharp. Is this about the man from the party? He asked. Her eyes went wide. Mine too. What man? I demanded. Michael shrugged, steady. The guy who walked you out. You were laughing. He wasn't Dad. The room froze around us. Confirmation. Not whispers, not paperwork. My son had seen it. She spun on him, voice sharp. Michael, you misunderstood. A coworker. Just giving me a ride. No. Michael's voice was flat. Certain. I know what I saw. Her cheeks flushed, then drained. For a second I thought she'd snap. Instead, her shoulders sagged. Fine, she whispered. Yes, he walked me out. But it wasn't what you think. That phrase again. A shield. I stepped closer. Then what was it? Her lip trembled. He's not a lover. He's a lawyer. The air left the room. Michael and I stared. She rushed on, desperate. I hired him to draft separation papers. That's why I said what I said. That's why I left with him. Business, not romance. Michael's eyes sought mine. Dad, my chest felt hollow. A legal betrayal. Colder. Cleaner. Somehow worse. And then Michael unzipped his backpack. His hand shook as he pulled out a folded sheet. Then why, he said, did I find this under Mom's seat? I opened it with trembling hands. A hotel invoice. Edgewater Suites. Room 204. 2 occupants. Midnight checkout. Her face went bloodless. Michael's voice cracked. Mom, tell me that isn't you. She opened her mouth. No words came. I swallowed my rage, kept my voice low. A lawyer doesn't need a motel room. She collapsed into the armchair, clutching her head. You don't understand. Oh, I understand plenty. I shoved the invoice onto the coffee table. You said our marriage was over. You walked out with a stranger. Now our son has the proof. Michael's eyes brimmed. Why, Mom? Her sobs spilled raw. Because I was scared. Because if I told the truth, I'd lose everything. The truth, always dangled, never whole. I crouched in front of her, forcing her to look at me. Then tell it now. Who is he? She swallowed hard. He's not who you think. He isn't just a man from work. He's someone you know. The floor seemed to tilt under me. Who? My voice cracked like thunder. Her lips moved, but before sound came, a sharp knock rattled the door. 3 times. Firm. Precise. Michael flinched. She went rigid, eyes wide with a terror I'd never seen. I rose, heart pounding, moving toward the sound. Don't open it, she whispered. Please, Gary, don't. The knock came again, louder. And then a voice through the wood, calm and official. Mr. Hale? This is Detective Warren. We need to speak with your wife. I opened the door anyway. A tall man in a slate suit stood on the porch, badge flashed just high enough to glimpse, not long enough to read. Mr. Hale, we've had a welfare call regarding your wife. We need a word. Behind him, tires hissed on wet asphalt. A white sedan idled at the curb. And then, like he'd been conjured by my worst thought, Dr. Evans stepped out, tucking his tie, walking our path as if the house belonged to him. My wife flinched. Gary, please. Detective? I studied the badge. Warren, he said smoothly. Let's keep this simple. Evans offered that polished half-smile. Good morning. I was concerned when she missed her 8 o'clock. She didn't miss it, I said. You weren't invited. Evans's gaze slid past me. Patients don't invite doctors to arrhythmias, Mr. Hale. From the living room. Mom? Michael's voice tight. Warren lowered his tone. Let's avoid a scene. Mrs. Hale, step outside. She shrank back. No. Then we'll talk in here. He moved forward like the threshold was his. I blocked him. Warrant. He tapped his badge. Welfare check. We don't need one. My phone buzzed. Tom. I hit speaker. Gary, listen, his voice cracked. Don't let them take her. That guy isn't a cop. Warren's face didn't twitch. Your friend is misinformed. Tom barreled on. Mike in facilities. Evans brought that same detective to the hospital last quarter to push a psych hold on a nurse who tried to report billing. His name's Warren, but he's private. Crisis management, not law enforcement. Evans's smile cooled. Your friend has an imagination. My wife cupped her hands to her mouth. Gary, I didn't cheat last night. I'm at compliance at Edgewater. We needed a place the hospital wouldn't notice. I told you our marriage was over because they said if I didn't push you away, they'd come through you. Through me how? Warren answered. Mr. Hale, you've been under stress. You confronted your wife publicly. There are texts showing obsession. He held up a sheet. My name, my number. Messages I'd sent to the burner. Where are you? Come to the door. But below, a line I never wrote. I'll make you sorry. My scalp prickled. That's not mine. Evans murmured. Phones are tricky. People type what they don't mean. Michael stepped forward, voice shaking. My dad didn't threaten anyone. Warren's gaze flicked to him. Son, don't complicate this. I raised the invoice Michael had found. Explain this before you take anyone anywhere. She wiped tears with her palm. I booked the room. I wasn't alone. Michael recoiled. Mom. With a woman, she snapped. A coder from cardio. She brought access logs. Room 204 was the only safe place. Evans's nostrils flared. Name, he said too fast. She shook her head. Not with him here. Warren spread his hands. Mrs. Hale, come with me. We'll discuss identities in a secure setting. Safe for who? I asked. My phone buzzed again. Text from Tom. Front camera. I swiped. The doorbell cam showed the sedan's plate clear as confession. A parking tag dangled from the mirror. Warren Crisis Partners. I turned the screen toward him. Welfare check, huh? He didn't blink. We're contracted by the hospital. To do what? Kidnap the inconvenient. Evans leaned close, voice silk. Mr. Hale, we can argue, or we can stabilize her rhythm before she collapses. She didn't faint. My wife snapped. You drugged me. Evans's pupils pinpricked. That's a serious claim. She pointed at the groove above his watch, caught in morning light. Not my doctor. A handler. Warren's jaw flexed. Enough. Why us? I asked her, heat rising. She shook. Because you called HR about Dad's pacemaker bill. Because you wouldn't shut up at the block party. You made noise. Noise. My own damn mouth. Warren reached inside his jacket. Mrs. Hale. Michael planted himself in front of her. Don't touch her. Get out of my house, I said. Evans's face went blank, inhuman. Phase 2. He whispered, like into an earpiece. Every hair on my arms rose. My wife gripped my wrist. Gary, the man from the party, the one you thought was Evan. He was staged. Warren pays him to rattle husbands. I did meet someone at Edgewater, but it wasn't him. I did cheat. Once. Months ago. They used it to corner me. But last night, it was for you. The confession knocked the air from my lungs. Warren pressed forward. She's unstable. We'll escort her. A new voice cut through. Nobody escorts anybody. Tom burst in, phone raised. I have recordings. Your bagman asked me for a retainer last night. I caught him on tape saying phase. Warren smiled without teeth. Then you also have me saying voluntary. Evans flicked a glance at Warren, then at Michael, then at me. Sorting. Choosing. Mr. Hale, he said warmly. I'm placing your wife under a safety watch. If you interfere, I'll request yours too. Try it, I said. His hand flashed. A glass ampoule glinted. Cold sprayed my wrist. The room tilted. Through the roar in my ears, I heard my wife. He switched the charts. Gary. The arrhythmia isn't mine, it's yours. Michael's face bent closer, blurred. Dad. Warren's voice was calm steel. Easy. Let go. Tom shouted from somewhere far. Left. Gary left. My knees buckled. The invoice fluttered like a white flag. Evans's breath brushed my ear. You should have kept the appointment. My wife screamed, raw and jagged. Gary, run. I couldn't. My body quit. And as the tunnel closed, I saw Warren's hands on my son's shoulders, steering him toward the door, while Evans gripped my wife's arm. And my front camera chimed again. A second sedan slid to the curb. 2 uniformed officers stepped out, real badges catching the sun. The room snapped into focus. Real uniforms, real badges, real voices cutting the fog. Hands where I can see them. The taller officer's eyes locked on Evans's ampoule. Sir, drop it. Evans's smile vanished. Glass clinked onto the table. Warren lifted both palms, calm as a weatherman. Officers, we're contracted for a welfare transport. Voluntary. Tom shoved his phone between them. Voluntary, my tail. I've got you on tape asking me for a retainer to smooth a family incident. You say phase 2, and make him look unstable. The shorter cop took the phone. The tall one pointed at my wrist. What did he inject you with? Cold spray, something, I managed. My pulse stuttered like a truck hitting rumble strips. Sit. The officer's voice brooked no argument. Ambulance en route. Nobody moves. Lena yanked the chain from her neck, hands shaking. Listen. She twisted her ring. The band separated with a soft click. A sliver of metal slid free, micro SD. She fed it into the recorder from the black pouch. Evans went very still. Static. The Edgewater's ice machine thumped like a bad heart. Warren. You'll walk out laughing, say it's over, go to the side gate. Kevin will escort you. You get paid when he sees the husband's face. A young man, cocky, unsure. Got it. I tell him my name's Evan, or Evan something. Evans, he doesn't need your name. Lena looked at me. I left the ring in the ice tub to tell you to look. You always look. Her voice broke. I didn't know they'd make you the target, too. Names, the tall officer said. Kevin. Kevin Rowe, she said. EMT Warren uses. They staged the party. They staged last night. She swallowed. I did cheat, months ago with him. Once. They held it over me. Evans tried to paste the professional back on. This is a domestic spiral packaged as conspiracy. Tom barked a laugh. Same fake badge, different victim. I watched you push a voluntary psych hold on a nurse who reported billing. A woman shouldered in behind the officers, cap low, eyes red. Rosa Alvarez. Cardio analytics. I called this. He, a nod at Evans, isn't on my chain but has admin access he shouldn't. She said a second drive next to the motel invoice. That key with blue tape? GH. Gulliver Health Subbasement. Backups. Logs show chart edits from an off-network laptop in Evans's office. They moved her Holter data out and yours and last night to justify a safety watch. The e-texts? Mirrored burners. They seed threats in patient rooms to manufacture leverage. The short cop's pen scratched. Motive. Rose's mouth thinned. Billing. Duplicate charges tied to Warren Crisis Partners transports and specialist consults that never happened. Families who complain get labeled non-compliant. Then the crisis team arrives to make the problem go away. If a spouse gets loud, they get a heart scare or a psych hold. Air returned to my lungs. The anger in me found a different shape. The tall officer turned to Evans. Doctor, hands behind your head. I am a physician, he said too quickly, obeying anyway. Cuffs snapped over the faint red groove above his watch. Warren sneered at Lena. Think this saves you? You still cheated. She didn't flinch. And you paid him to make sure my husband saw the one thing that would break us. Rosa tapped the pouch. EKG strips. Her baseline, normal. His, runs, not catastrophic. They weaponized it. Ambulance in 2, the short cop said. He looked at me. You okay? I will be. They walked Evans and Warren to the porch. Tom exhaled like he'd been drowning for a week. Michael's grip clamped my shoulder. Lena stood before me, the ring dangling between finger and thumb, chain sliding like she couldn't tell whether to hold or let go. Say it, I told her. All of it. She did. Compliance whispered at Tom's party. Edgewater, room 204. Kevin first, kind in the practiced way. The slip. The photo. Warren and Evans with smiles and leverage. My complaint about Dad's pacemaker bill flagged the wrong ledger. My loud mouth at the block party painted a target. The ring recorder was her hedge, the pouch, the strips, the G.H. key, her ladder, if she ever climbed. Leaving the ring in ice wasn't a goodbye. It was a flag. And the cleanse? Tom asked, remembering. Rosa snorted. Caffeine-heavy detox powder from a wellness rollout. Spikes heart rate. Great for sales. Perfect to confirm a scare. It all clicked. He wasn't a person. The lawyer was an EMT. The detective wasn't a cop. The arrhythmia they borrowed from my chest to make me the problem. The ring I read as surrender really a signal. Blue washed the room as paramedics checked my ribs, nodded at numbers that didn't scare them. Follow up, one said. No cleanse garbage. Real cardiology. I signed and waved them off. I didn't want a hospital today. I wanted my house back. On the porch, morning remembered itself. A sprinkler hissed. The white sedan idled, crisis partners winking like a stale punchline. Lena's eyes were swollen but steady. What happens to us? I slid the ring into an evidence bag and pressed the seal. The chain curled like a tired snake. Justice, I said. Then whatever's left. She nodded. A tiny break at last. I'll give them everything, she whispered. Even if it ruins me. It already did, I said, not unkind. We watched the cruisers roll away. The house settled. The beat in my ears matched the printout. Messy, imperfect, mine. I closed the door on the last blue flash, and, for the first time since she laughed under Tom's string lights, I took a full breath and kept it. The only rhythm in this house was finally telling the truth.